Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. I'm making this video to do some of the topic which were left in the class, and if I just go back with the content which we covered in the class, I have this screenshot of class work board. So you can see that we had like confidence interval, discussion, testing of significance, p-value and alpha value, type 1 error and type 2 error. So what was left? Analysis of variance. So practically I'll do analysis of variance. So let's come back to the board. So if we just, there are two things or topics are which I discuss today is number one is analysis of variance, and number two, which is important to discuss, is normality of U, right? And there is subtopic, another topic is 2T value rule. So these are the topics which I'm going to discuss today on YouTube through the YouTube channel. So let's come to this first one, which is analysis. Well, the first one is analysis of variance. Okay. So variance is from variability, and you know variability. You must have gone through the concepts of variability, and you worked out with standard deviation and variance. You have done it multiple times, but this time we are working with the variability of the regression equation and its y variable. So analysis of variance is also called, like we abbreviate it as ANOVA, right? ANOVA. And analysis of variance is basically how to analyze the variability of value y, right? So if you remember the diagram, I try to make one here. Let's say I make this, and this is like x, this one is y, and we have this regression line y hat, which is equals to beta 1 hat plus beta 2 hat x. And if I just take one of the equation, यहाँ पर एक line ले लूँ, so it's look like this. Sorry, थोड़ा सा late. So let's say okay, so this is x1, this value is, let's say, y1, and this value is y1 hat. Okay, and we also have y bar, which passes through this line, y bar, something over here. So this is y bar, right? And इसी तरह से we also have x bar. So what is analysis of variance? So of course, when we're talking of analysis of variance, it's actually is that how much value of y is. So can you see this height is representing the value y. Now if you look at this, this height is value y, right? And if we look at this, what is this? This part is the part which is not explained by the equation. Then what do we call it? We call it y1 minus y1 hat, because where we have y1 hat, it's y1 hat, this one y1 hat, right? And where is remaining, that this part is actually y1 hat, right? This height is representing y1 hat. The portion which is above the line and below this y1 value is y1 minus y1 hat, and we also call it u1 hat, right? Now see what we are saying, it's not one value only, we have many values, right? x1, x2, and correspondingly for every value of x we will have y hat and yi simply, right? And every total y is distributed into two parts. One is y1 hat and second is u hat. So you know that every yi is distributed into yi hat plus u hat, right? So this is the composition of y values. Now we are not analyzing it, we are analyzing the variance. The variance, if you remember, if we talk about variance, the variance is nothing but just a dispersion. So variability means that value of any variable around its mean, right? So if I just talk about the variability of value y, so it should be y minus y bar, because variance is always defined the values around its mean. So it's always taken y minus y bar. And the second thing what we do, we take the square, because you know the sum of the variation from mean is always 0. So we always have to take square, and we add all the values, because it's not only one value which exists, but there are many values. So in simple words, if you try to see what is the variability in the value y, it has to be calculated through summation y minus y bar square. So this side, left side, which is in which we are talking about the variability, is defined as this expression, right? Now moving on to the right side, what is this? This is the variability of yi hat. So so you, first of all, I would like to go with u hat. What is u hat? It is, you know, the portion which is not explained by regression line. So it's a value above regression line and below till the value of actual y. So practically this red portion, which I already mentioned, is taken as u hat. So if I see what is u hat, the definition of u hat is nothing but y I minus y hat. Everybody knows that, right? So if we just subtract the explained part from the total, so we get unexplained part, which is u hat. And since it's a variance, so it has to have a square and summation, right? So this is also called the variability of ui hat, right? A third part is left, u hat. So how do we do it? Summation y hat is equals to the variability of y hat. So how the variance of y hat? So as we know that variance of anything is defined as the deviation of those values around its mean. So basically हम इसको लिखेंगे yi hat minus y bar, right? Square. So summation and a square, because we are taking variability, the analysis of variance, and deviations are because variance is always described as the deviation from some mean. So if we just look at this, so if you make it simple, so y minus y bar, so y minus y bar is equals to, if you just write it this way, summation y minus y bar square is equals to summation, just to memorize it, summation y minus y hat. Just have to incorporate another thing, which is y hat, into both expression. So this is starting with y and then is ending with y bar. This side must be starting with y, must be ending with y bar. So practically, if you take summation y minus y hat in the middle plus summation y hat minus y bar whole square. So what I have done, I just shuffle the terms. This term is coming first, this one is here, and the other one is there. So practically I haven't done anything else except that I shuffled it, just to make you memorize that if you are trying to figure out what is the variability equation is like, so you can memorize it easily. So here we have in the left side y minus y bar square, and the right side y minus y hat, and the other part is y hat minus y bar. Now since this is the variance of y value around its mean, so it is called total sum of a square, right? And this is, you know, variation of y which is not explained by regression equation, because y minus y hat is basically this red one, and this red is u hat. So summation y minus y hat is u hats, and u hat is a part which is not explained by regression equation, so we call it residual. So हम इसे कहते हैं residual sum of square. And similarly here was a plus, and here this is what the part which is explained by regression, so we call it explained sum of square. This is a question you already know about, and we have discussed it when we were defining a concept which is called R square, which is coefficient of determination, right? Remember that. So coefficient of determination is basically the explained part out of total part. We have already discussed it, and in this discussion I discussed this equation earlier in the class. Now we are using it for another purpose, and this equation will be used for something called analysis of variance. So how do we do it, and how do we write it, and how we use it? For that I am moving on. So what do we do? Okay, we have a table which is called ANOVA table, right? Just like I have written down here. And then what we do, that I'll just make a table in front of you first of all. Okay, let's take this. It's better to take this one.